All right, working. Today's one of these days, it's like you just get up, put on the same shirt, and power through. I'm so tired. I don't know. It's been a short night. We're looking into ImagineFX number 204 with the cover of the amazing Iron Alberto. Let me flip cameras. Alright, here we go. That's the one. I have a contractor coming in like half an hour, so today we will be punctual in terms of everything. Don't get weirded out by the noise. I am printing something today, which are these fellas here. I don't know if you can see. This is a giclée print on a metallic paper by Ilford. The camera is going weird. I wonder if the probably it was switching modes and stuff like that, right? So, but yeah, I'm printing these. They are very, very sexy. Really good prints. These are for the campaign of Black Dragon now. Alright, what are we looking at today? There he is again, Mr. Ian. Okay, Lauren Brown, Ken Coleman, Zebra Stuff. My art books still matter. Oh, why? What? It appears I picked the right. I picked the right one. Hold on. ImagineFX comic art. Our artist super team unites to bring your heroes to life. Artist super team. Okay. FX Passé. Ahmed Ravi. That looks amazing. Fuck yeah. This is Ben Bauchau or Ben Bochot or whatever. Davut Mohdami. From Iran. This is amazing, both of them. Wow. Gabriel Rubio. Edit Balai. Marby Kwong. Hell yeah, Marby. Alright, what do we have here? Why books still matter to artists. James Gurney. Flipping through really quick. Let's dive into it because I really want to know. Page turners, book sales are on the rise, and when it comes to art training, the printed page is still important, discovers Ian Dean. We live in the internet age where training is just a click away, but despite this, we continually return to books, even when learning could be gained online. Educational book sales brought in 6.54 billion pounds in the UK in 2020. Consumer book sales fared even better, rising 7% to 2.1 billion last year. Clearly, the printed word hasn't lost its appeal, and for artists in particular, many have returned to the page. Always, states concept artist and director Kan Muftic. As we ask if he still relies on art books for advice, a book is an object with a physical and mental presence in my life, adds the artist, whose own book, Figure Drawing for Concept Artists, has proved popular. Kan reveals that the beautiful books of Marcos Mateo Mestre got him through lockdown. The love of a physical art book was instilled in him at an early age. His parents had a collection of Sarjetopi books that inspired him growing up. You can track a person's life through their book collection and see the influences in their work. Kan himself has grown beyond the fantasy and comic art of his childhood and now directs for TV. His animated short Kiss Me First is on Netflix. Reading film theory has not only aided him in making the leap to film, but helped his art too. Learning about camera lenses and various filmmaking books completely changed the way I create images, he tells us. Booked in. Art books enable us to focus and challenge ourselves where perhaps other mediums fail. During lockdown, Kofi Ofosu turned to figure drawing and invention by Michael Hampton. I wanted to get back to my anatomy fundamentals and improve my figure drawing skills, he says. It was a moment that took the illustrator full circle back to his artistic grounding. Kofi's first book that he owned was Drawing Heads and Hands by Andrew Loomis, and his most recent acquisition is Force, Dynamic Life Drawing. He tells us, there are so many great art training books available that contain lots of gems of advice. I have gotten a lot of invaluable information through reading art training books. Much of this information is difficult to find online. For Kofi, it's about being able to get as close to an artist's work and through processes as possible. The pitfall can come if you follow the advice too closely and fail to interpret and instead merely copy. On this matter, Kofi says, this advice wasn't necessarily a technical one, but it was a quote from Frank Frazetta, which goes something like this: don't be a second-rate Frazetta, be a first-rate you. It greatly helped me because as a young artist I always wanted to become like other artists. I had never thought about getting truly in touch with my own artistic voice. Reading these words from Frazetta helped me to understand that as a creative we are most powerful when we are fully expressing our unique artistic vision rather than pretending to be someone else. What do you think about that? There you go. Yeah, let me know. Like, this is interesting, right? Art books. This is a balancing act that all artists walk. Interestingly, one of the most popular art book authors, James Gurney, has managed to sidestep the problem altogether. Oh gosh, I'm tired. Ugh. Anyway. I became an artist in a vacuum, James says with clarity. No one else in my family was an artist. I didn't have art friends until after college. And there was no internet back then. That absence of community and connections made it all a lonely quest. But in retrospect, it was the best thing for me. It helped me develop completely independently, and I didn't suffer through the nonsense that art students around 1980 had to endure. James reveals how he had to create his own artistic training program to learn how to paint and draw. His self-diagnosed training focused on the instructional books of Golden Age illustrators and academic painters, such as the famous Artists' Course and the books by Andrew Loomis and Harold Speed and John F. Carlson. But I knew that you can't become an experienced painter by reading about it. Any more than you can learn to draw by binge-watching YouTube videos, he cautions. I knew I had to face the real world with my sketchpad and just draw from memory and imagination. I made regular trips to the zoo and the National History Museum. When I got the job painting animation backgrounds, I learned to paint a lot and paint fast. Working as a National Geographic illustrator taught me the importance of research and accuracy. Which books do our pros recommend? Yeah. I don't know. For James, who has a number of must-read books to his name, including The Color and Light, a guide for the realist painter, there's still the need to balance relying on training with the act of doing. His first book, The Artist's Guide to Sketching, co-written by Thomas Kincaid, grew out of this belief. Holy shit, I'm pretty tired. He explains, we left art school for a summer, riding the freight trains from Los Angeles to New York City. After sketching portraits of lumbermen, gravestone cutters, and ex-cons, we had the crazy idea of writing a book about sketching from life, a topic that was rarely covered by art training books. This was before anyone talked about urban sketching or plein air painting. We didn't go back to art school because the process of writing that book was our education. So what's left to learn? How about writing your own book? James shares some insights he's gathered over the years from his own writing process. The most important principles are brevity and clarity, he says. If you can say the same thing with half the words, it'll probably be more forceful. If something is a fact, such as the inverse square law of light, stated authoritatively. Holy shit, you guys are using words. If it's a debate such as whether there's such a thing as muddy color, present both sides of the argument. If it's a myth, such as the notion that our eyes move through a picture in a smooth spiral, blast the myth and offer the facts. Comic art legend Adam Hughes agrees. Robert McKee, in one of his screenwriting books, pointed out the difference between a rule and a principle, explains Adam. A rule says, you can't do this, while a principle says, this has worked since the immemorial and will always work for you. That positive idea applies to illustration, and it really made me look at the rules in a different way. During lockdown, Adam found himself not looking at an art training book for inspiration, but a novel. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. I just keep reading it, planning future fun drawings, he says, adding jokingly, all my other favorite stories keep getting recontextualized. Looking at you, Star Wars. And I like and I like one thing to never really change by telling me Frodo was a robot the whole time. Yet Adam is a traditionalist when it comes to the internet versus book training. The internet is quick and easy. WebMD, do I have a brain cloud? But cracking open a book is like discovering the secret knowledge of the universe. It really is. Hey, Vilenchev. Can't argue with it. In my experience, teachers were always called talented people who had their own vision and knew what they want. Been growing a collection of art books over the years. I've got decades. I mean, it's the entire discussion about what is an art book, right? Because, I mean, this is all how to draw stuff. How to draw. What about art books? Anyway. Wake up to online conferences, web event, Lightbox Expos, Online's co-founder Jim DeMonacos reveals how to get more from virtual events this summer. Why didn't you ask the guys from Playgrounds who actually really started and made this a real thing that eventually was copied in the fashion that they did it? Just saying. Luca Nemolato, not saying that nothing that Jim has to offer here is good, because it probably is. But I would have thought that Playgrounds could say a bit more. Painting Painting a successful freelance career. Brush up. Isabelle Stock. Cute. The paintings, I mean. Erin Hunting. I haven't seen this motherfucker in what? In holy shit. 30 years or so? Holy crap. I totally forgot this existed. All my German friends had this one. Seriously. All of them. Lovely. Holy crap, that's a lot of figurines. Kickstart Korea. The Art of Logan Pressure. Wow. Good stuff. Paul Brown. We art here too. And there's a lot of stuff that we can do with these characters and the way we present ourselves. Inspired by nature, fashion, and the desire for greater diversity, this illustrator's reputation is sure to grow, finds Ian Dean. I know this one. Oh, yes. Della Longfish. This is the good stuff. If you haven't checked out Della's work, do it. He actually has a couple of really cool sketchbooks he's selling. At least I got one of them during Lightbox, where he was selling them himself. Worth every penny. From 2D concept to 3D portrait, Ana Cavazos. Huh. Ken Coleman. Skeletor. Oliver Beck. Yeah, Della's the real deal. The real Della. Dealer. Glenn Southern. Wasn't he in the last ImagineFX too? Wasn't he is the artist in residence of the last one? Anyway. Latest art resources are put to the test. ImagineFX Team Paper 2022. What do we have? Oh my god. Art books. Yeah. What do we have here? Oh my god, 3 stars! What did you do wrong? Oh my god, Hayao Miyazaki did something wrong. And the work of Studio Ghibli is celebrated in this compact hardback with over 250 artists contributing more than 400 eclectic works. Okay, some of those pieces were created for a 2007 exhibition in San Francisco Spoke Art Gallery. As the exhibition toured over the following 2 years, it grew in size as more creatives interpreted characters and key scenes. Following an introduction from the curator of the exhibition and a potted history of Hayao Miyazaki, the reader is then free to explore 240 pages of incredible work filled with unique takes on My Neighbor Totoro, Howl's Moving Castle, blah 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 blah. Media is varied from traditional materials such as ink. It's a credit to Hayao's strong vision that his designs remain recognizable in every extremely Princess Mononoke's headdress, blah blah, turned to a gas mask by freehand prophet Gary Lockwood. While it's a pity that there's no creative insight on offer, this book remains a solid collection of art that studio. Not explaining something, not writing text, not giving away secrets, not blah blahing around is not a criterion for a good art book. Really not. Don't believe that. Seriously. Ugh. It is not. I can't urge you enough to not believe that. Holy shit, if that is true, most of my art books deserve, what, 2 stars or something? Right? Somehow, the artists making them still end up very happy about how it turned out. And most of them don't really want to talk about what they're doing. What's a good art book? Give away your secrets, tell us what you're doing, then it's a good art book. What? No. Madalina Buzenci. Key? I don't know. Pool. That's an easy name for me to say. Yes, German. 11 tips on rendering perfect portraits. Jean-Sébastien Rosbach has a really, really good art book, which you should get. It's back there. You know what? Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Yes, there it is. Burning inside. This one. This one. We can flip a bit through it in a bit. You have to stay open to how watercolors interact with pigments and the paper and readjust all the time. He's such a nice guy. I haven't seen him in a long time. Pencil pens, blah blah blah, Paul Heaston. Wide angle point of view sketches. Okay. Alright. Who do we have here? Wally Becker. We still have 8 minutes. Again, I have to end this on time today. This Magic the Gathering artist thanks social media. Wiley is not only a Magic the Gathering artist. How did your post-college years affect your art? I lived in a miserable, unheated house in rural Maine and worked a part-time job that paid $260 a week. The upside of this was that the low cost of living meant that transitioning to the unprofitable life of a newly minted illustrator wasn't too much of an adjustment for me. And with no distractions and nearly nothing to lose, I was able to devote myself to studying art fundamentals and building my illustration skills in a way that someone with a cushy studio job in an expensive city would never have been able to. That period of my life was both a hardship and a luxury. Is the online social side to modern art a burden or an aid? A burden, but an indispensable one. Long before I was getting hired professionally, social media allowed me to build a sustainable career for myself rather than sitting on my hands, waiting for the emails from art directors that never came. I was first hired by Magic the Gathering, now my main client, in late 2019. A full 3.5 years after I kickstarted my first self-directed project, Wicked Kingdom. If it hadn't been for social media channeling support to my crowdfunding campaigns on Kickstarter and Patreon, I would have had to quit art in favor of a real job years ago. Real job. Even if your work isn't perfectly polished, perfectly professional, social media lets you put your work out in the world and Start building a following, even if you are beneath the notice of art directors for now. What art has most affected you? Seeing, what is it, Jacek Jerka's work made a huge impression on me early on. Before that, I had thought of fantasy art as a genre that I'm an idiot, that existed solely in an alternate universe, medieval England. Knights in armor, dragons, fairies, castles. Jerka's painting are much more personal. They feel real, habitable, and familiar despite their strangeness. Jerka is still my favorite artist to this day. Has the art industry changed? Well, duh. When I was getting started as an illustrator in 2014, many of the big fantasy art brands were very rigid in the type of artwork they would hire. It seems to be the peak of the shining photorealistic digital painting. With my line-based traditional media style, I was more or less unhireable. In recent years, I've noticed this status quo starting to shift. Magic the Gathering, in particular, is starting to move towards a less homogeneous look that's allowing a lot more unique voices into the industry. Given the positive response from players and collectors, hopefully more companies will follow suit. This is not a reason to do a Fallout set. Just saying. What's next for you? I've been more or less tied up with one project over the past 3 years, my playing card deck Reign of Sin. Doing a large-scale project like Reign of Sin has meant being locked into the very narrow style and painting process. Now that it's almost finished, I'm looking forward to starting something a lot less structured. Creating an illustrated fairy tale collection has been on my list ever since I saw Sean Tun's amazing book, The Singing Bones. It's certainly on the horizon. And here's the Brokobut. Alright, so we can quickly have a look into this one, right? So this is Jean-Sébastien Rosbach's Burning Inside. A really, really cool book. And I don't know why the fuck I hadn't it signed when I got it. I don't have much time, so I'm just gonna flip through it really quick. We can make a full review of this actually. Graphic design in this book is really good. Someone put some thought in this. Again, a book made by an artist himself, I believe, that understands graphic design, which is my most favorite way to collect a book, right? Like if it's designed by the artist himself and he knows what the artist is like, if the artist knows what he's doing, that's the most beautiful stuff. Are you working on any books right now? I am working on books right now, on a couple actually. So next month we are launching Dominic Meyer's book. It's time. Right now there's still the book of Othalam having a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. I think this one will probably hit 100k. Maybe even 1,000 backers and stuff, right? Like it's looking really good. I'm working on a book with Vanessa Lehman, which I'm a huge fan of. For next year, there are a couple more. There are a couple of books I'm working on for Corette. So yes, I'm very busy right now. So anyway, we've come to the conclusion of the stream. I wish you all a great day. I have to run to open the door for the contractor in like a couple of minutes. Yeah, I hope I can stream tomorrow. Tomorrow again at 9 o'clock, I believe, because there's just more time. And until then, wish you all the best. See you then. Cheerio.